naka def
yow foo joxee
mbaa def la suma tool balaa wari woon
man de man faa tehi man
yaa ngi toog di daa dégg son
man faa tehi di man suma tool bi fa booy baaxatul
xanaa doo dee use engrais fertilizer
man loolu yow wuti ko foofu faa tehi dem ca dépôt ba dafa wuti fa sori
gis nga mbayum léegi boo amul fertilizer du baax de engrais kenn jëndeetu ko ci def
boo ko jëlee ci dépôt foo koy amee
kay yaa ngi doog a ñëw xam nga Reliance banque bi ñuy wax Reliance
faa koy dégg waaw
kay gis nga boo demee Reliance ci boppam foofu ngay fayee saako yi nga bëgg nu mu toll nga fay ba pare ñu jox la sa receipt gis nga receipt boobu ñu lay jox moom ngay yóbbu nag ca dépôt ba
kon fu ne ko dem ci dépôt ba te yóbbu la kay doo ko am
déedéet
fu ne su ma jógoon su ma xaalis ba dem ci dépôt ba du ma am
déedéet doo am foog nga dem Reliance fay ba pare
waaw
soo ko dem nag ak sa receipt ca dépôt ba waa Gambia Granite Corporation lii la ñu wax
yow fi ne fa nga jëm ni la
waaw fa laay dem bi
kon kay ni jàmm jox la nga jëndaaleel ma ay yow ma de fi di saako doon yàgg te duma ko xam
maa la ko wax de
boo xàggee jëndaaleel ma
mbokk yi nii lañ ko bëggee waa Gambia Granite Corporation ñu ne saako engrais $700 dong lay jar muy $200 rek yomb na lool daw leen Reliance bu leen gën a jege si PMS tam dañuy jaay comme ni ko Reliance di jaayee boo fa demee dinañ la jaay te engrais bii pour réew mi kese la bëgguñ mu génn réew mi.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulaling. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
It's a warm welcome here in our studio in Sarakunda. This is Star TV News with me, Memuna Jufadera. In the headlines tonight, Kubune and Kunkujang Jata embark on road maintenance for vehicles. The Mahmuda VDC embarks on a multi-million-dollar market project. Heavy wind vandalizes the Janjambre Arabic School under construction. Project 8, the Gambia ships ventilators and hospital beds from Germany to the Gambia. Press release, Japanese rise aid to support National Development Plan priorities on the international scene. Thousands flee violence in Mozambique. Egypt, Ethiopia discuss Nile Dam dispute at UN Security Council. Netherlands holds virtual auction of 5G network bandwidth. Those were the headlines, and now the news in details. The community of Kubune and Kunkujang Jata over the weekend embarked on a massive road maintenance in order to have easy road access, especially in this rainy season. Both communities have difficulties in traveling around as they complain of bad road networks between Mandinari and their villages. Omar Diop was there and he now reports.
Speaking to Star TV, Dembo Jata, chairperson of Kunkujang Jata VDC, said that they join hands with Kubune as they face the same difficulty. He added that as of now, they are all in for one goal, which is for a better transport system.
Initially, every village normally do it on their own during the past years. But then this year we decided to amalgamate with them to become one and then try to join hands and work it, because we don't have any support from the government. So all that we are doing here is from our own pockets. So therefore, Kunkujang cannot do it on their own and Kubune also cannot do it on their own. That is why we came up with the idea for all communities to contribute and then put the money together and then be buying fuel for the trucks.
Mr. Jata further stated that the villagers contributed in order to buy gravel and fuel for trucks so that they can tackle the difficulties they are faced with. He stressed the hardship they face during the rainy season and urged the government to come to their aid.
Like you said, coming to Kunkujang, especially during the rainy season, is always, very difficult, very difficult. Normally the vehicles that normally ply through this road from Lamen to Kunkujang and Kubune, because we have two communities, it's always a very big challenge to us. Normally, especially when it rains, there will be no vehicle for that day. Like when it rains heavily for a day, that day there will be no vehicle till maybe the following day or so, when the water has at least subsided down more. But if not, when the roads are filled with water, drivers refuse to come here, which is always a very big problem to us. You have to alight from Maninaring and walk on foot to Kunkujang or Kubune. It's always a big problem. So if the government can come to our aid, we are not even saying a correct tarmac road, but if we can have gravel road that is at least correct linking from Kubune to Maninaring, it will really help the two communities.
Moro Keba Biai, the Imam of Kunkujang, commended the effort of the two communities for coming out in their large numbers to ease the bad road system. Though they can overcome it all, as it needs a lot of finance, they will at least do what they can for a better road so drivers can come into the village. Having people to come out to help ourselves, because it's been ages that we have been into bad road system. We talked to the councillor, but still now we have no help. And here comes the rainy season. When it rains here, we are disturbed, as vehicle will not come or they will lay heavy fare on us in order to reach our respective destinations. So that's why we join hands with Kubune to help ourselves. Though all the holes on the road can be covered, but at least we will fill the main ones so that the drivers will not have difficulties when coming here. Sometimes when women are in labor, to even have a vehicle to take them to hospital is always challenging, unless if someone with a motorbike or a donkey cart comes to take them, and that should not be the case. Modu Job is a driver on that road, and he explained the challenges both the drivers and villagers face, most especially in the rainy season. He praised the effort of the two villages, as every year they will embark on a road maintenance to have easy access in traveling.
Metina torop because melni ñun driver fini lele dina la tere liggéey.
It is very difficult for us drivers, as sometimes you will not go to work when it rains. You will wake up to go to work and get stuck on the road. When that happens, people who have understanding will help us to push out the car despite being in their clean clothes. And when it is hard to get out of the place, you are stuck. Your fellow drivers will bear to pull you out. That is very challenging. So the maintenance of this road will benefit us the drivers, though when it rains, we unwillingly increase the fare because of the risks we take. Kunkujang and Kubune are in the western part of the country, about 3 kilometers away from the Mandinaring Highway. For Star TV, I am Omar Job.
The Mamuda Village Development Committee has embarked on a multi-million-dollar self-sponsored market and garage project in Mamuda Village as part of their contribution to the development plan of the country. Our reporter Mariama Dem on Saturday paid a site visit to the ongoing market construction, and she now reports.
The initiative is part of the village's contribution towards the national development plan of the country. In connection to this, the VDC called on all stakeholders, government and individuals to support them complete the project as soon as possible. This is mainly because they lack the financial capacity to finish the project, which includes a market consisting of 12 toilets, roads, a garage and a mosque. Speaking during the site visit, The Mamuda VDC chairman, Koyo Kande, highlighted that they have reached out to stakeholders as well as the district chief, the MP for Combo South, and their councillor, who advised them to have a sketch plan and the budget of the project before submitting any letter to the Brikama Area Council. We have consulted physical planning for the sketch plan, but they are yet to respond, he added.
At the beginning, we thought it's a project that's a simple project, but on the whole, as we progress in the project, we found out that on the whole, it's a very expensive project. That's why we thought it wise to inform stakeholders, which we have done. We have informed the district chief about this project. We have informed the Honorable MP, Kombo Saurada, Barrow in Gunjur. We have informed our councillor, Omar Bojang, at Jambur. We have informed Brikama Council. We wrote to them, but we are yet to submit a letter. For the simple fact that the day we went to submit the council's letter to him, he advised us to have a sketch plan of the market and the car park. We engaged somebody from the Department of Fiscal Planning, but he's yet to submit the sketch plan. And according to the councillor, the letter we are supposed to submit to area council, we should attach the budget of the project, proposed budget, estimated budget for the project, as well as the sketch plan. Hence, we could not get the sketch plan done yet, and we see that rainy season is really almost at the peak, and we feel that if you want to wait until the sketch plan is received, the submission of the letter is done, when do we probably will start getting any support?
But it is for the entire country, as it is part of the National Development Plan. Chairman Kande expressed concern over the completion of the project as they are facing financial challenges and the rainy season has already begun. He also made it clear that the land being used for the project was allocated to the VDC by the Alcalo of the village for development purposes.
It's not Mamuda VDC has embarked on such a project, and it's a self-sponsored project. But they've come to a stage that without support, well, it's going to be very difficult. We will struggle, and we are struggling to ensure that it's completed. But we feel that if we get support, that will be able to ease the burden and could also be, make it possible to fast track the completion. Because at the time when when rainfall is at its peak, it will be difficult to continue the project. Simply because bringing sand, bringing stones will become very, very difficult. Within this land, the land is given to the community by the Alcalo. We have a document which we will access the reporters to see the document, so that we know that this land is allocated to the community, given to the community by the Alcalo, and we have a document for it. VDC requested for a document, and we got it. The other part of the area is a land also that's given to the community by the Alcalo, and we have a document for it as well. Those documents confirm to those who are building, constructing stores and canteens that this is a land that is given, that VDC has followed the right track to acquire this land for the interest of the community.
However, he also clarified that the reason they did not involve the government at the beginning of the project was that they wanted to lead by example and thought that they could complete it by themselves. But due to the magnitude of the project, they cannot. He also said that they could have waited for the government or area council to build the market for them, as it is their duty, but they thought it wise to take it upon themselves as part of their efforts in complementing the development plans of the government.
To help us to inform the population outside, both those are in the country and outside, individuals and organizations and government, to support us to complete the project. But we want to start it. We want to lead by example. We want to start first. Then from there we call on government, because we have this land. We could have said no, let's follow the government to build it for us, or let's follow area council to build it for us. But this current VDC said no, we're going to start by ourselves. To a level, we feel that we cannot. Suppose we thought we could be able to complete it, we would have done it all. That's our plan. Suppose we have funds to do it ourselves, we will do everything possible to complete it. Then from there we invite relevant stakeholders for the inauguration. But then we started. But we are so that by looking at these projects, by looking at the magnificent project we have done, we want to believe that both government, NGOs, and individual people will appreciate what we have done, not for our personal interest, but for interest of development. By example. So we feel that when we call on support, that's our thought, that somebody will come to complete it.
The VDC Secretary Alhaji Huma described the project as a huge and challenging one and calls on the government and stakeholders to render support to the Mahmuda community to fast-track the completion of the market.
The project is huge and challenging, and that's why we need the support of the general public, mostly the government and other stakeholders, to come on board to help us to fast-track the situation here, the project. Definitely, the village, they are doing their best. They day to day, you see villagers, some of them are sacrificing to come on board here to help without even any budget at the end of the day. So we are much grateful to all of them, and then we believe, through collaboration, this project has come to such a big stage. So we want all of you to know that Mahmuda people are very hardworking people. They are very, they work together, they help each other in terms of development and other things. So people are very much happy with them. So we welcome you all, and Sondri, thank you very much.
Construction is undergoing, and according to the VDC chairman, they have spent over $350,000 so far, and the completion is expected to amount to $800,000. According to the VDC, the money used was generated from the stalls they sold out to interested persons. The VDC of the Mahmuda village also said that they are working on future projects, including building a hospital and a road. Nevertheless, they also call out to government to provide water and electricity in the village, as access to water and electricity is a great problem to them. Mortala Cham, a native of Mahmuda, said that they have never received any support from the government since acquiring the borehole that was given to them by GDC. He strongly urges the government to render support to their community of Mahmuda. Maria Madem, reporting for Star TV.
The long-anticipated Janjambure Arabic School has been wrecked by heavy wind over the past weekend. This Arabic school was jointly funded by the Muslim community of Janjambure in order to propagate the teaching of Islam to their children. Modu Baji has the rest of the story.
The island town of Janjambure is one of the first British settlements in West Africa, where Western education was put to a test during the colonial era. This eventually gave birth to Armitage High School. However, Janjambure is a town mostly dominated by Muslims, and their desire for an Arabic school cannot be overemphasized. Their unclinchable desire to have an Arabic school unanimously propelled the natives to build one for their children. Moreover, their anticipation to have their first Quranic learning center has been swept away by a heavy windstorm. The ward councillor, Alaji Foon, who is one of the substances behind the construction of this Arabic school, lamented that they have spent at least $300,000 on the construction of this center, but its annihilation by the windstorm will not drive away their aspirations, but they will rather tighten their belts in ensuring that they actualize their aspiration of building an Arabic school in their community. Mr. Foon seized the opportunity to call on the government, religious groups, and philanthropy organizations to assist them either in cash or kind in their quest to have an Arabic school in Janjambure. Reporting for Star TV, I am Modu El Baji.
Project A, the Gambia international NGO A57 that operates Jahali Health Center CRR and Health Center Bunyadu North Bank region launched a humanitarian aid container from Germany to the Gambia, which contains 36 ventilators and 18 hospital beds. Jacqueline Koli tells us more.
Last week, the 20-feet container was loaded in Essen, Germany. The donated equipment will be handed over to the Ministry of Health in the Gambia upon arrival. It is scheduled to arrive late July, mid-August. The 36 ventilators were donated by 2 medical supply companies in Germany. Additional medical accessories provided by the Project Aid Germany for the ventilators were also loaded. The 18 hospital beds are a donation from the Rohland Clinic University, which in 2019 and 2020 had already supported the health service of the Gambia through a donation of 39 second-hand hospital beds and other medical equipment. All the equipment is second-hand but in good and functional condition. The ventilators are used to prepare the West African country for the expected increase in seriously ill COVID-19 patients. The 36 ventilators donated have a new value of approximately 11 million Gambian dollars. Our delivery of ventilators will significantly improve the equipment of the Gambian health system, said Matthias, founder and board member of Project Aid the Gambia. The number of coronavirus infections in the Gambia is still increasing slowly. According to health experts in the WHO, a possibly uncontrollable outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic in Africa in the summer is expected. We want to use this remaining time to help improve the dilapidated health system in the Gambia, he said. 2 of the ventilators are to be delivered to the Medicare clinic in Brufut, a well-equipped private clinic in the Gambia. In return, the clinic has agreed to deploy their staff to the governmental clinics and hospitals to teach their staffs how to operate the devices, reports Matthias. In another development, in cooperation with the Ministry of Health and the NBR Regional Directorate of Health, Project Aid the Gambia is about to donate thousands of mouth-nose masks to governmental health centers in the North Bank region free of charge. Health centers will be provided with 500 reusable masks each. Community clinics and minor health posts will be given 250 masks each. In addition, leaflets containing information on how to correctly use and wash the face masks will also be provided to each of the health facilities. The face masks are made of double-layer cotton, being washable and reusable. The face masks are not meant for sale but for the use by staff and patients of the health facilities. The masks are being collected from the patients upon leaving and afterwards being washed into hot water with Omo, dried the other day and reused to patients. The protocol of using, cleaning and reusing the face masks by staff and patients following the WHO guidelines have been implemented in both health centers run by the organizations Health Center CRR and Health Center Bunyadu NBR since the beginning of April. The face masks have been produced in the Gambia during the last weeks. The production was founded by the German partner organization of Project Aid the Gambia, which had successfully run a fundraiser in Germany. Up to date, Project Aid the Gambia has produced an amount of more than 31,500 face masks, some of which were sold to different NGOs and companies at cost price. The production of the face masks is still going on. More masks will be delivered to more health facilities as soon as those facilities are identified by the health authorities. 3 weeks ago, the organization has delivered a first batch of 8,000 face masks free of charge to 23 health facilities in the Central River region. The facilities were identified by the CRR Regional Director of Health, Jacqueline Coley, reporting for Star TV News.
In a press release sent to media houses, the Office of the President informs the general public that the government of Japan has donated 115,956 bags of rice to the Gambia. The ship has docked at the Gambia Ports Authority. The Office of the President, in consultation with the Ministries of Agriculture and Finance and Economic Affairs, has decided to conduct the sale of the rice at the ports. No single buyer will be allowed to purchase more than 5,000 bags. The price for a 30-kilogram bag of rice is pegged at $450 only. Interested buyers are invited to contact the Accountant General's office, where they will be given an invoice and an account number to make all payments before collecting the rice. It has been agreed with the Japanese government that the proceeds will be deposited in a special account at the Central Bank of the Gambia to support the government in its NDP priority areas. The public is hereby informed that it is strictly forbidden to sell the rice outside the Gambia. The price to the consumers should not be more than $550 per bag. The release ends. Well, we'll now go for a short commercial break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Malum ni nan kuwol fo jaxalo wota bay bi da ko ko jande akire na fi fo be fala be fada fi fo be fada malum be kel nyami jang ha ni nga jam bando ni bare ni nay fele do ko bala de inu mbara abra ni mbara ni su ko do buga nyamoti awu to jaldi kay ndungi be do ko bala janko mbe do ko walal de bar fenkil nañ jaxal jang nga fem fi jabu ka bete nga fem fi jabu ka bete nga fem fi yang ko jaxal dafa malum be kel nyaati de ne jambando soto angare nyeng ne o soto yake jang ila soto fengo fam be yiru wara je jambando ha woto alhamdulillah sa jambando mo soto la nyaadi le sa nyeng moli abula le kata fan kata depo nyinto hani ni futata je depo to sa nyeng buka wafi de ka kodo ta mo bulu ka boto dila wo bo sa nyeng wo botale sa nyeng mimbe kering wolem nyinti ko reliance ibita wolto ye kodo jo ne kodo jo reliance e ka risitol dia risito ni ngaku matal de wori risito ni adila e ka wole samba depo nyintu ne risito di yela jambando soto
comme ngi yek mo fu nyami ngamoyle nim fana bodo jam ko tenke mbira jambando sanna
GGC wole Gambia Groundnut Corporation wolle be mararen nyin jambando la kola ando ila nyin jang ngalo ne nyin jambando ni yake jang ifam ba fola nyela
tumando bar be jambando ko yel fana ngaji be nim bodo ya mbita wolto mbita sekro direct nim tara ye rek be jambando sanna oto mbaɗigol ñewode ñul nadara kana mol dahandi GGC ka jambando data lambole fo dara si ceme worwula he ñomo alten to balde mbati woto nimboru bayta ngata na jambando la ko do jo woto jang san be wutule ngata fo reliance nganna jambando la ko do joje to ngana risito ta ngata depo walla ngaji be CPMS katu ñun la fulol de min suriyata na rek nin tara nga joje benna jambando sotla al nimbara bak ala baraka. Hey, alhamdulillah. Nyomo ala tan Dubai. Moro nyina metu abdena no sanal.
Welcome back after that short commercial break, and we now look at the news beyond our borders. Thousands flee violence in Mozambique. Nearly 1,000 people have been killed and more than 200,000 displaced by an armed group in northern Mozambique. The fighters say they reject the government and want to establish political Islam. The army has failed to contain it and has itself been accused of rights abuses. Al Jazeera's Malcolm Webb reports.
Beheadings, kidnappings and torching of homes is what these people fled. Now they live in this camp in northern Mozambique. An armed group has been attacking villages in Cabo Delgado province for nearly 3 years.
Foi 17 horas. Depois de apanhar ali.
It was about 5 in the afternoon when the attackers came and started burning houses. I ran with my wife and they shot her. They killed her in front of me. I managed to escape. They came with guns and machetes and started burning houses.
The army's been fighting back, but information is scarce. Journalists and researchers found in the conflict zone are arrested. So social media videos, like this one filmed by a soldier, are all that can be seen from outside. And it hasn't been going well for the army. This one, posted by fighters from the armed group, shows a military vehicle they captured. For 2 years, the group attacked only remote villages and said nothing. Then, 3 months ago, it started attacking and briefly occupying towns. In this message, a fighter rejects the government and calls people to fight under an ISIL flag. ISIL has claimed responsibility for some of the attacks. It's not clear if there's any real link between the groups. But it is clear there are deep local grievances. Mozambique's growing oil and gas industry is part of it. One of the world's largest natural gas reserves has been found off the coast of Cabo Delgado. Oil companies have moved in, but people have remained poor. Analysts say years of government neglect in the province have proved toxic.
It tended to move from an absent state to a state that is being seen gradually aligning with the interest of the international oil company and business, etc., and less available to protect communities, particularly the youth, etc.
The army's response hasn't always helped. Here, the soldier filming orders others to set fire to an enemy camp. Soldiers have been accused of executing any men they suspect of collaborating with the armed group. The army and the government didn't respond to our request for comment. As the violence escalates, more people flee. There's little support in the camps and a shortage of food. But it's not safe to go home. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera.
Egypt-Ethiopia discussed Nile Dam dispute at UN Security Council. Egypt has told the United Nations it faces an essential threat from a hydroelectrical dam that Ethiopia is building on the Blue Nile River. Ethiopia is expected to start filling the Grand Renaissance Dam with water next month, but at a virtual meeting of the Security Council, Egypt warned of conflict if the UN does not intervene. Al Jazeera's James Bay reports from the UN headquarters in New York.
This massive dam project has been a long-running source of regional tension. But as the date for Ethiopia to start filling the now completed dam nears, it's becoming a major crisis with international dimensions. It was the US that called for the first Security Council meeting on the issue after being urged to do so by Egypt, which relies on the Nile for 90% of its water.
The matter on which I am addressing you today is of the greatest consequence to the Egyptian people, and requires, like our efforts to combat this global pandemic, a commitment to uphold the spirit of cooperation and to recognize that no nation is an island unto itself.
But the Ethiopian ambassador countered that the UN was not the place to discuss this dispute.
Let me be clear that Ethiopia doesn't believe the issue being discussed today has a legitimate place in the Security Council. It is bound to set a bad precedent and open a Pandora box. This council should not be a forum for exerting diplomatic pressure.
If you're in a dispute with a choice of mediators, you probably choose the one that you think is going to give you the best result. Diplomats believe Egypt gambled on internationalizing this conflict, hoping that the presence of the US, a permanent member of the Security Council with a veto, would help its case. For now, that hasn't worked. This weekend, the African Union convened fresh talks, and many council members believe it's those efforts that should take priority for now. Although the dispute is becoming angrier, one analyst says he believes it's unlikely any of the countries involved will resort to force.
Ultimately, especially in the long run, the only way for Egypt to secure those supplies is by cooperation with its upstream neighbours, very much including Ethiopia. If this escalated into any form of conflict, it's going to make it much more difficult for the parties to overcome the remaining obstacles to reaching an agreement on the GERD, and it really could set back relations in the long term.
At the end of the meeting, both Egypt and Ethiopia asked for the floor again, disputing the other's position. Diplomats believe the only way to resolve things is for all three countries, Egypt, Ethiopia and Sudan, to return to the negotiating table and make concessions. In this dispute, no one's going to get exactly what they want. James Bays, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.
Netherlands hold virtual auction of 5G network bandwidth. The Netherlands is carrying out a virtual auction of bandwidth for 5G networks, the first of its kind. There is hope that the move by the Dutch government will raise at least $1 billion, but the plan has been fiercely opposed by rights groups. Al Jazeera's Step Vassen explains.
They are a familiar sight in modern-day landscapes, telecommunication towers that should soon provide the Dutch with internet speeds 100 times faster than current 4G connections. But they have also become a popular target for activists protesting against 5G. Dozens have been set alight in the Netherlands in the past few months. While protests and the COVID-19 pandemic have delayed the introduction of 5G in other European countries, the Netherlands has given the green light.
If you, as a country, can support all kinds of applications with 5G, then maybe your country is the first where all these applications are used. Maybe they're also developed in your country, and that stimulates economy.
The applications the Netherlands is keen to develop with 5G are self-driving cars, robot arms in hospitals and feeding cattle with drones in agriculture. While the fastest frequency of 3.5 MHz can only be auctioned after 2021, providers hope that 900 MHz, the frequency that's currently being auctioned, can lead to a huge change in these industries.
While Parliament has asked for more research into the possible health effects of 5G, the bidding process is now in full swing. Judges have ruled that if risks become apparent, the implementation of 5G should be reconsidered. But But with so much money and so many interests at stake, some are wondering if this new technology could be stopped. After losing a court case against the government, the group Stop 5G has appealed against the verdict. They say that the government should wait until the health report has been sent to Parliament.
So it's very remarkable that they don't wait the outcome of the report, because we have to know about the safety of 5G. And it's with like medicines. Medicines are not coming into the market before they are tested on safety. And now it's too unsure, and we should wait the outcome from this health council.
She says some international research shows that radiation from 5G could lead to cancer or DNA damage, but other reports say there's no evidence for this. The Dutch health report is not expected until the end of next month. By then 5G could already be up and running. Step Vassen, Al Jazeera, The Hague.
Well, before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. The community of Kubune and Kunkujangjata over the weekend embarked on a massive road maintenance in order to have easy road access, especially in this rainy season. The Mahmuda Village Development Committee has embarked on a multi-million-dollar self-sponsored market and garage project in Mahmuda Village as part of their contribution to the development plan of the country. The long-anticipated Janjambure Arabic School has been wrecked by the heavy rain over the past weekend. This Arabic school was jointly funded by the Muslim community of Janjambure in order to propagate the teaching of Islam to their children. Project Aid the Gambia International NGO A57 that operates Jahali Health Center, CRR and Health Center Bunyadu, North Bank region launched a humanitarian aid container from Germany to the Gambia, which contains 36 ventilators and 18 hospital beds. The Office of the President informs the general public that the government of Japan has donated 115,956 bags of rice to the Gambia. Nearly 1,000 people have been killed and more than 200,000 displaced by an armed group in northern Mozambique. The fighters say they reject the government and want to establish political Islam. Egypt has told the UN it faces an essential threat from a hydroelectric dam that Ethiopia is building on the Blue Nile River. Ethiopia is expected to start filling the Grand Renaissance Dam with water next month. The Netherlands is carrying out a virtual auction of bandwidth for 56 networks, the first of its kind. There is hope the move by the Dutch government will rise at least $1 billion. Well, that's all for this edition of the news. Do enjoy the rest of our programs and join us tomorrow for more news. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful night. It's bye for now.